you this evening. I'm sure you're a whole lot warmer than we are. We're actually having very, very cold weather, but that's fine. We needed that. We needed the rain. So yes, everything is going good. And what I'd like to emphasize as I talk to you this evening, this is all about you. Your business is about you. And my question is, if it's about you, the starting point is dreams, having dreams and goals. Do you have definite, clear dreams and goals? Things that you know exactly what it is that you want to achieve. Because if you don't, you'll be drifting. And the wonderful thing about Neolife, even though it starts small, it sometimes it brings its difficulties. You can achieve dreams that you might not even be dreaming yet. You know, I remember when we started, my only, call it a dream, it wasn't even much of a dream, was just to make enough money to reach the end of the month. Then when we started getting there, my next dream was our children and getting them educated. And while that was going on, another dream I had all my working life was to be my own boss and not to have to, be controlled by other people. And I started working towards that and I achieved that. And since then, I've achieved many other dreams. I still have big dreams, and that's what keeps me going. And many of my dreams are not necessarily about what we get, but a lot of my dreams is one of my big dreams is to empower more people like you and to empower you to reach your dreams and the goals you have for yourself. But for you, if you don't have a clear picture of what it is you want, think about it and define that for yourself, because that's going to be your motivation. And then if you're sure about your dreams and goals, I want to ask you, are you really serious about it? They say talk is cheap. People talk about what they want to do and what they want to achieve. But when it comes to doing the work, when it comes to going through lean times, they're not around. And that shows they were not serious about their dreams and their goals. I'm urging you, based on my experience in the business, that you can achieve more than you think you can, but you've got to be serious about that. Third point, you can be serious, but are you willing to work as hard as it takes and as long as it takes? Sometimes we don't achieve a goal in the time limit that we set. That's no reason to stop. You just keep on and keep on. You see, this is not something you do for a period in your life, a year or two or so, or even 5 years or whatever, and then leave it behind. Because the best you'll get from this business comes in the long term. 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years from now. But you've got to be willing to do the work and to persevere. And then are you strong enough to overcome setbacks? If you think you'll build a big Neolife business without any setbacks, without any disappointments, let me disappoint you right now. That is not going to happen. You will have challenges. But strong people overcome their challenges, and that's why they become winners. Weak people, when challenges come, they give up and they go and hide somewhere. So this is one of the good things. You can grow in strength. The more you are involved in the business, the more you attend functions, the more you let the business work in on you, if I can use such an expression. And then the fifth one, very important, are you developing the right mindset? And what I mean by that is we know we need people. We need people as customers. We need people as downlines. But, and I know it was like that for me. I'm talking from experience. In the beginning, It was all about me. I looked for people for what they could do for me and for us. Now, that's not entirely wrong, but it's not a very productive mindset. It's going to make the road very steep for you. The correct mindset, which we have to cultivate and keep cultivating, because it goes against our human nature, is to focus on people, forget about your needs, and focus on what they need, how we can help them. That way, people won't feel pressure when we approach them, because it's not about us, it's about them. And for us, the good side effect about that is when people then do say no to what you show them, it doesn't matter, because it's their problem, it's not yours. You don't have to be emotionally and mentally pulled down when people say no, because it's not about you, it's about them. And if they don't want it, well, too bad for them. The second point I want to make is that you need to understand the process. This business isn't like you walk into a dark room, you flick the light switch, and suddenly all is light. You build the business like you build a house. First, clear the property, dig the foundations, put in the foundations, and then it's one brick on another brick. It's a process. And the bigger the result you expect, the more you should put into the process and stay longer in the process. Because you cannot achieve really big dreams in a year or two. It's not possible. You've got to stay in the process. And this process is very simple. It starts by, listen, my slides are mixed up now. I just want to see what's happening here. Oh, no, it's not. I've got it right. It's me. Firstly, realize it takes time to build a big business. I've already mentioned that. Secondly, we work with the 80-20 rule, and that applies to any kind of business, whether you're selling cars or whatever you're selling. 80% of people probably won't join you. Not as customers, not as distributors. Only 20% will. Now, some people get upset when they discover this reality. They talk to 10 people and 9 say no. Or they talk to another 10 and maybe only 2 say yes. That's nothing to get upset about, but that is how it is in life. And if you don't understand that our process is all about going through the 80 to get to the 20. If you don't understand and accept that the 80 is going to pull you down and demoralize you, because you'll talk to people and you'll talk to people, some will start and then disappoint you, and you'll talk to people who don't even want to listen to you. But you know the exciting thing? You can be a diamond with just 10 good people. You don't have to have 100 or 200. The volumes come below those people. So just accept this. So it's a question, we must go through the many to find the few. If you want to be on the president's team, you only need 6 qualified legs. You don't need 60. But to get to those 6, you've got to go through the many, as I've indicated, and not let that upset you, because that is part of the process. Going through the many is part of the process. And if you stay in that process, you will find the few, because they are there and they're just, in a sense, waiting for you to find them. And I just want to add this, that the no's that you may hear, the so-called rejection, is not a negative. It's just part of the process. See it as part of the process, and every no you hear, you say, well, good, I've got that one behind me, I've got that one out of my life. Let's look for the next one, who might be the one that I'm really needing. So the bottom line is, the more no's you get, the more yeses you're going to get. So if you want many people to join your business, become customers, just accept it that you're going to talk to many more who are not going to be interested. That is no problem. It's the part of the process. And as long as you stay in the process and grow and become better, more skillful, better attitude, it will start working better and better for you. So that reminds me of what Zig Ziglar said, and I often quote him. He said, you can have everything in life you want if you will just help enough other people get what they want. Take an example. If you're a qualified director and you've helped even just one other qualified director, you're on the world team. You can go to the world team holidays. By the time you've helped 6 people to become directors in 6 legs, you can be on the president's team and go to overseas holidays twice a year. You see, it's about helping other people get what they want, grow their businesses, because all of it counts for you as well. This makes so much sense. I'm often amazed that people can't understand and accept this. They do funny things with people. They abuse people. They use people in ugly ways just to get what they want. That can never last in the long term. Okay, the next point is to look at the steps of this process. I said you've got to be in this process where the 80-20 rule applies and not be pulled down by people who say no. You should just accept that they're not meant to be part of your business and carry on. Now, the first step is finding and inviting people. Now, finding people, it's what you make of it. For some people, it's very difficult. Other people do it very naturally. The more you do it, the easier it will become for you. Now, mostly when we start with what we call our warm market, the people around us that we know and that know us. And most people with big businesses that I know, at least in South Africa, have not built big businesses with the people that they knew when they got into the business. So you've got to develop your skills in meeting with people and making contact and getting new people from people that you don't know. And then how to invite them. Now, if you, let's say you talk to a stranger on the taxi, in the taxi or wherever, don't talk to them with the idea, I'm going to invite this person. Then you're chasing people and you're always under pressure to catch somebody. Talk to them in a very natural way. I have small grandchildren. I'm very involved with them. So I'm very focused on small children. And very often when I'm in a coffee shop or in a shop and I see a mother with a small child that is now really, an attractive child, I would say, hey, how old is this little one? And we start talking. I've done that a lot in the last little while. I've never invited one of those because I just didn't get the gap to do that. But you strike up a conversation and you start talking to people. And the interesting is people generally like talking about themselves. They just need somebody to listen to them. So let's say you meet somebody and you don't know this person, and you might say, you might be in the same taxi. You say, hey, where do you live? And he tells you, say, how long have you lived there? And he tells you or she tells you. And then what kind of work do you do? And the person tells you. You say, that must be exciting. That's something I could never do myself. I'm not educated enough for that, or whatever your reply is, and get the person to talk and then say, well, doing what you're doing, you must be earning a lot of money. And mostly they say, no, not at all. And there's your opening to say, well, if I could show you a way to earn extra money, which could later on be, even replace your present income, would you be interested to having a look? This is a very important phrase. If I can show you a way to whatever, Would you be interested to find out more? Would you be interested to look? If it's somebody far away that you talk to over the phone or maybe Facebook or whatever, say, if I sent you a link to watch, would you be willing to watch it? And through this inviting process, you'll get people who won't be interested, but you'll get those who are interested. And that then comes to presenting the business or the products. Now, there are formal ways of doing that. There are business presentations. There are a lot of presentations on Zoom that you can send to somebody from the back office or wherever, or from WhatsApp, at least not WhatsApp, whatever. And then the presentation is done on your behalf. Now, there's power in those presentations. But apart then also from using social media, I personally still like doing one-on-one presentations where you interact more with people. I did one on Monday night, which I think is going to end positively. I did one yesterday morning and I took the kit this afternoon. Tomorrow I'm seeing another guy one-on-one, because there aren't that many group presentations around at this stage. So the key is you must learn how to present either your product or the business. Well, actually both. And one of the things I want to warn you against, don't complicate it or overcomplicate it. Keep it as simple as necessary. Don't talk more than they want to hear. The less you say that would convince them, the better. Otherwise, people start switching off and wish that you'd finish. Another thing is, in presenting, use stories. You know, stories are so powerful. Now, if you're fairly new and you haven't got much of a story yet, use somebody else's story. I often use the story of a couple that I got to know in 1983 at the first convention I went to. They come from a very poor part of our country, even today still. Black people. She was a tea girl, he was a policeman, I don't know what rank. They were so poor that at one stage she bought a meat pie for lunch. And when he heard about that, he beat her up because she did buy a meat pie. Yet that same guy, later on, a couple of years down the road in your life, bought her a Mercedes for her birthday. Now, isn't that a powerful story? Use it. And that's why it's important, and I'll touch on it in passing as we go along, but Justice already mentioned it. It's important to attend events and mix with a group where you pick up stories, because stories are more powerful than the facts. I promise you that. So don't overdo the facts, 3% on this one, 5% on that one, and leadership development, blah, blah, blah. People don't need to hear that. They need to understand the concept that if you duplicate yourself in others, they're going to earn exactly according to what they do, which is fair, but the company will pay you a bonus override on the whole team, and the same applies for them. That's a presentation in about a minute. So keep it simple and don't talk too much. Then after the presentation, you need to follow up. If people get started, of course, like I did with this young woman who started yesterday, I took her kit today, spent some time with her, sent her some videos to look at. But you'll often have people who won't commit at the presentation unless they're very definitely saying no. Forget about it, leave me alone, don't talk to me again. You need to follow them up, because people are unsure. They're unsure about the business. They're unsure about themselves. They're unsure about so many things. They need to, in a sense, be carried towards making a decision that would be right for them. So it is said that you on average need at least about 6 follow-ups for people to get started. And the follow-up is not to pressurize people, but they're probably going to need more information, more encouragement, tell them more stories. And if they still at that second meeting don't commit, set up a next meeting or arrange to send them a video or something. And from that, arrange another meeting. The purpose of a meeting is to arrange another meeting. Remember that. The purpose of any meeting is to arrange another meeting. So follow-up is very, very important. And then handling objections. That is so critical. I'll talk about that in a little more detail just after this, because you are going to have objections. Oh, this is a pyramid scheme. My auntie's cousin's young son tried and it didn't work for him. Whatever. If you can't handle objections correctly, you are going to be stuck. And fortunately, it's something that you can learn to do. There's a lot of training on that also in the back office. Your uplines can teach you and train you, because this can actually be a very positive thing if you do that very well. And then to close the sale. At some stage, you've got to get to the point where you, as it were, help them make the decision. Because people don't easily make decisions. If you've answered all their questions and their objections and they seem quite fairly at peace, say, well, okay, seems there's nothing else stopping you from starting. Which kit would you like to start with? Here in South Africa, we have 5, 6 kit options. And like the one I had last night that started, it was between 2 3NN kits, one containing 2 3NNs, one. I said, well, I think these are the best for you. Told them about 3NN a little, of the 6 instead of the 2. Which one would you want? Now, the moment she said, well, I'll take that one, she's saying yes. And then you don't come with long stories. In a one-on-ones, and I take a paper application form with me. I say, okay, let's quickly fill in the application, and then you can transfer the money to me, or however you're going to handle that, and I'll order your kit, and then what time can I come with a kit? So that's closing the sale. But after that comes a very important point, and that's the a bigger picture. They'll get a different feel for the business. But you know what? If you don't go, you're not going to get them to go. There's this weekend function in Kampala. Powerful. Now, if you're from Mbarara or Busheni or wherever, you can make the excuse, oh, it's far to travel and I've got to stay. And don't make excuses. Make plans. Our first convention was the month after we started in the business. And I'm the one who ran out of money halfway through the month. So I had no money. And going to this convention in Durban would have meant 2 nights in a hotel. I said, well, I don't have the money, but somehow I think God moved me. I borrowed more money from the bank and I went. And apart from showing us the business, that was the best thing our uplines could ever have done for us. Because that convention, I believe, is the reason why I'm still around and therefore why you are around. Because my understanding of the business was so limited. I never saw anything big in this. I might have dropped out after a while because if you're just relying on what you can sell, there's not much in it. attend events, whether it's Zoom, whether it's physical. The advantage of a physical event is you see other people, you get a vibe that you don't necessarily get on a Zoom training. So those are the steps of the process. Now, let's just quickly talk about handling objections. You will get objections. And the funny thing is, 10,000 people will all use the same set of objections. We haven't got time. We haven't got money. My wife won't let me, whatever. So you don't need to learn to handle 100 objections. They're just a handful that everybody uses. Now, the first thing I want to say is never attack people. Never attack them. Somebody says, well, I've got time. Oh, man, you don't know what you're talking about. We all have 24 hours a day. You work 8 hours, you sleep 8 hours. What do you do with the other 8 hours? That's attacking them. Rather, listen carefully to what they say, and then acknowledge their objection. Say, I know what you're talking about. When we started, I was also so short of time, I thought I'd never be able to fit in this business. But what I discovered is that you don't have to put in so many hours, and you don't even have to be busy every day. You make some time, a little bit, 5 to 10 hours every week. So, you make time work for you. So you see in this example, I didn't attack them. I heard what they said. And I said, well, I know that's so. Or they make some other objection, which you can say, yes, many people think that way. If they tell you this is a pyramid scheme, for instance, so many people think that way. In fact, I did myself. I was very skeptical. But what I found? And then you put it right. And then if they're still not too happy, ask questions. Let's say you answered the question about is this a pyramid scheme, and they still seem not too convinced. Say to them, is there something that I didn't explain clearly, or what else would you like to know? Because they often say handling objections is like peeling an onion. You've got many layers of skin before you get to the real onion. So the first objection, when that's out of the way, there might be another one, you get that out of the way. There's another one, you get that out of the way. And then when they fail to come up with another objection, you say, well, having said all of this, it seems you're with me on the same page. Are you ready to get started? Or can I help you to get started? And again, use stories to address their concerns. If people say they don't have time, I've got a good story for that. If people say they haven't got money, a story for that. And it needn't be, as I said, your own. Because remember, stories sell. You must gather stories all the time. And in the story, include the benefits. Like this couple I mentioned, where the wife was beaten up because she bought a pie. The benefit was that eventually she got a Mercedes for her birthday. And that wasn't all, of course. But I mean, how many people do you know who can buy their wife a Mercedes for their birthday? Now, if you're talking to somebody who's very down, very poor, you may not use over-the-top examples like this, but show them benefits, small benefits that could excite them. I remember I was many years ago once doing a one-on-one with a young black girl who had no income. They lived in a shack. And when I told her she could earn, I don't know what the amount was those days, but let's say 10,000 rand, which is about what the director earns, I lost her right there and then, because she could not believe herself earning that kind of money. And I realized I hung the carrot too high. So tailor the benefits that you sell, because people want to know what is in it for me. How will I benefit? What will it do for me that I can't have going the way I'm going? And then you close the sale, as I said previously. So a last point I want to make is never compare yourself with others. You know, if you look around, if you, for instance, go to this weekend function, you look at Charlie with the biggest business in your life, and you say, oh, I can never be like Charlie. God forbid that you try and be like Charlie. You've got to be the best you. You know, I saw here Charlie has his mannerisms. How he holds the microphone, notepad in the same hand, and the way he speaks and the way he moves. Now, I've seen so many people when they get on the stage, they copies of Charlie. It's just a different voice, and they look differently, but the mannerisms, the way they carry on, that's not good. You can look at somebody like that and learn from them in other ways, but don't try and copy other people. You've got your own way, your own personality. You've got to let that come alive and come to the front. And then if you look at people who grow faster than you or seem to be more successful than you say, oh, why not me? Why can't I? You see, you down yourself when you compare yourself to successful people. If you look down at the losers, you say, oh, I'm actually very good. Look at those people. And in the meantime, you may not be that good. You may still have a long way to travel to really become good. So forget about comparing yourself. Learn from other people, support other people, talk other people up if there's such an expression. You know, don't say, oh, you know, somebody who's more successful than you, oh, they're just lucky. No, build them up. Because the more people who become more successful, the bigger the draw of the business will be for all of us. So with these few ideas, and I'm glad, Justice, that you'll put it out again. You can even send out the slides. That I want you to think about this and to measure yourself against each of these points. How am I doing on a scale of 1 to 10? Because personal development, personal growth comes when you realize, listen, I'm falling short in this area, and you start working on improving yourself. And if we do that enough, in enough areas over time, you will be a person that other people look up to, even if you may not be there yet. So in summary, this business isn't a once-off, it's a process. In fact, if you can commit yourself to it being a lifetime process for you, then you can't go wrong. But people who say, well, I'll try it for a year or two and see if it works. It won't work for them. There's no commitment. There's no passion. I'm just so fortunate that we've been able to be around for 40 years in this business. I haven't achieved nearly as much as I could or still want to. That doesn't mean I'm not still trying. But all the benefits we've had over these years. You know, I mentioned I was the one who halfway through the money had run out of, or through the month had run out of money when our children were still not even in school. I don't know how I would have paid school fees if it weren't for Neolife. And then they went on to university. They traveled overseas. We live in an area that we could never hope to live in were it not for Neolife. I'm my own boss. It's an incredible privilege. Good health. In a couple of months, I'll be turning 76, and I don't feel like an old man, and most people who see me don't think I'm an old man. And a large part of that is due to the products, the travel we have. I am so excited about all the traveling we do. last October we were in Barcelona, and it was just one of the most fabulous weeks I've spent in any new place, because I'd never been to Barcelona before. Then where were we? Then we were in Turkey just a month or two ago. Exciting. I've never been to Turkey either. My wife's been there, but I haven't. Next time we're going to Victoria Falls in October. And next year we go to Mauritius. And you know what? In my case, I don't pay a cent for any of those, and many people don't, because they qualify to go for free. But you know what also? There were many, 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 many years when we were just starting to get going and growing very slowly, when I saw other people get on the planes and they come back and their photos are in the lifestyle magazine and everybody's so happy, and we sat at home. No problem, just stay in the process. And you will find, I saw it on one of Justice's WhatsApp groups, that neo life is neo lifestyle. I like that. You get to have a lifestyle that very few other people would ever. If you stay in the process, understand the process, and cultivate a positive attitude where it's about helping others, and then there's no limit to what you can receive. And in the process, be yourself. Don't try to be like this one or that one, or look down at this one or that one. Just be yourself. Your responsibility and my responsibility is to ourselves. I'm not responsible for anybody else succeeding. I can help them, but I'm not responsible for their success or their failure. Or I might be, but hopefully not. So if it's to be, it's up to me. Let that be your motto in every area of the business. So, Justice, with that,